Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. I am absolutely thrilled you're joining us today because we're going to tackle what is arguably the single most fundamental mystery of your entire existence. We spend so much of our time trying to improve ourselves, right? We want to fix our problems, we want to understand the world around us. But honestly, how often do we actually stop to figure out who the self is that we're trying so hard to improve? Today, we're exploring a deeply fascinating concept from our source material known as the Finding I meditation. It's a profound, highly structured path designed to help you unmask your true awareness.
So, I want you to sit with this incredibly simple, yet completely profound question for a second. Who are you? Seriously, think about it. If you're like most of us, your brain immediately starts firing off answers. You might think, well, I'm a teacher, or I'm an engineer, or maybe you just default to your name. Maybe you start listing off your character traits, like I'm a really hard worker, or I'm an introvert, or I'm a parent. But our source text points out a massive realization here. Any answer involving your name, your job, or some external trait, it completely misses the real truth. Sure, those things describe you, but they absolutely are not the core stream of consciousness that you actually call I.
Okay, to really wrap our heads around this, let's look at this incredibly powerful thought from our source material. The ego is a veil between humans and God. This idea from Rumi just beautifully sets the stage for deconstructing the self. What we think of as our identity, our ego, is actually acting as a barrier. It's literally a covering that obscures something much deeper, much more profound, and honestly, much more real hiding right underneath.
Section 1. The Illusion of I. Peeling back the layers.
Well, our source material makes a pretty startling point about all those layers. What we consider our everyday identity, it's really just this huge patchwork. It's a mix of physical needs, innate drives, deep-seated fears, and unconscious beliefs that we've just accumulated over a lifetime. We stitch all of this stuff together into a suit, kind of like an illusory mask that we wear so constantly, we've actually convinced ourselves the mask is our real face. But if the mask isn't you, then what is? As we just saw, trying to define the I usually ends up with a list of external labels, but the word I is really just a symbol. Think about the word table. It's a symbol pointing to a physical, tangible object. But the word I, it doesn't point to an object at all. It points to a living, breathing mystery. It points directly to your awareness itself.
Moving on to Section 2. You are not your thoughts, experiencer versus experience.
So as you'll see here, there's this absolutely crucial distinction between the chaotic mental chatter in our heads and the silent witness standing behind all of it. Think of it as the experiencer versus the experience. Your feelings blow through you like the wind. You experience them, for sure, but you are not the wind. On the left side here, we have the ego. The ego desperately wants predictability. It's always seeking control in a world full of impermanence, and when it inevitably can't get that control, boom, anxiety and stress. It is constantly reacting. But on the right, we have true awareness. This is the real you. It's the true experiencer. It doesn't judge, it doesn't try to control, it just simply observes. It is entirely separate from those thoughts spinning around in your head.
Section 3. The Finding I exercise. A deep self-inquiry practice.
So how do we actually pull this off? How do we separate the two? Well, our source text gives us a super actionable tool to break the illusion of the ego. It's a deep self-inquiry practice designed to bypass all that everyday noise in your mind and hone in directly on your core awareness. Here is the exact methodology step by step. First, sit quietly for just a few minutes each day. Second, turn your attention entirely inward. Third, you're going to ask yourself slowly and very deliberately, who am I? And who is asking that question? Just let that echo in your mind for a second. If I am not I, then who am I? And finally, step 4. As thoughts inevitably pop up to answer that question, follow those thoughts right back to their source. Ask, who is thinking this thought? You are basically systematically tracing the signal back to the receiver.
Which brings us to Section 4. The 30-day challenge. Consistency across all emotional states.
Now, what's really fascinating here is that doing this exercise just once, yeah, it's interesting, but it's absolutely not going to fundamentally shift your worldview. To truly see the mask for what it is, you have to test it against the actual friction of real life. A core, non-negotiable requirement of this 30-day challenge is that you must practice self-inquiry through all your volatile conditions. You can't just do this when you're feeling perfectly zen and relaxed on a Sunday morning. No way. You have to do the Finding I meditation when you are happy, when you're sad, when you're incredibly angry, and even when you are afraid.
To manage this whole process, the text suggests keeping track of your experiences in a notebook or on a calendar. Note how you feel each day, practice when you're energetic or dead tired or laughing or feeling loving. The whole trick here is to just observe the thoughts that arise, without editing them and definitely without judging yourself for having them. Over these 30 days, if you do this consistently, you will literally start to watch your attachment to the word I loosen up. You begin to actually document, in real time, the artificial nature of the mask you've been wearing your whole life.
And finally, Section 5, Beyond the Mask, Discovering True Awareness. The real game changer here is that by doing this consistently across the full 30 days, you begin to actively separate your true awareness from all the mundane, stressful noise of your everyday life. You basically stop identifying with the passing weather of your emotions, and you start identifying with the sky behind it. So, what exactly is behind that mask? The ultimate resolution of our source text is incredibly clear. Behind the mask is your awareness, your real self. It is eternal, it is completely at peace, and it is entirely separate from the ego. This core of your being is totally untouched by the past, untouched by the external judgments of the world, and entirely free from the ego's frantic need for control. It is just simply there, peaceful and whole.
As we wrap up this explainer today, I want to leave you with the absolute core premise of this entire exercise. Let this provocative question linger in your mind. The next time you find yourself stressed out or angry or fiercely defending your identity, just stop for a second and ask yourself, who is feeling this? Who is having this thought? Who is asking that question? I highly encourage you to try the 30-day challenge. You might just be completely amazed by the true self you find waiting underneath. Thank you so much for joining me to explore this profound material today. Until next time, keep questioning.